getting in here. We getting in here. Cause you can't have none. Cause you're on the welfare.
Ramsey first.
Ramsey always in there.
That's Ramsey first. I don't even know if we had gone live yet.
I don't even know how they know. Like, that made me nervous. Like yesterday when you did post game vibes yesterday, there was like 5 people in here. I was like, wait, we ain't. I was like, I'm looking around waiting. Like, did I hit the wrong button? Like, are we live? And I did not recognize this because if that's the case, we should be careful because we talk some crazy stuff when I think the broadcast isn't on.
Ramsey, by the way, still don't tell me about the game against Stanford. I haven't got to it yet. All right, so just dude, I'm gonna get to it.
Who DVRs college basketball, bro?
Oh, your man's.
I meant that rhetorically. Like,
I was stepping up anyway. Yeah. Let's see what games do I have on here. I need to
preparing for next year's 8-hour draft show. Is that what it is?
Right. I still haven't watched enough college basketball this year. I really haven't.
What y'all think of the new PTI setup we got, man? Our little split screen here. We'll still use the other one, but I was messing around like, what could we do that's a little different? And I
do like this because unlike Damien, my background is trash. So this focuses a little bit more on that area as opposed to everything else. I was supposed to be getting some pictures up on that wall, but they it didn't work the way I wanted. So I have to get some different pictures.
I gotcha.
Yeah,
I want to redo some stuff in this office that you can't even see, like the stuff on this side. I need to redo bad. Like, I need to pull this garbage down. I just have like old SI covers up and
look. I'm not even saying it because he's right here. Everybody, Damien has a pretty damn cool office. Like, don't let him fool you. The office is pretty dope. Like, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, no, I like it. I spend all damn day in here.
The stuff on the walls, though, like the things you say you want to take down, like I like.
Or maybe I need to rearrange it. Like, it just doesn't look right. Like, I don't like looking at it. What I really need is what you got. I need a TV in front of me, but it just I don't know.
Warren, what's good? Rich, what's good?
Yeah, jump in these chats, man. We got basketball to talk about. Here we go.
I'm the strange voice out west, legendary self-made progress. Check.
And we in here on this Thursday, February 4th. Welcome into the latest episode of D-Lo and KC. I'm Damian Barling. He is Kenny Caraway.
Yeah.
And your Sacramento Kings win once again last night, beating the Boston Celtics 116 to 111. And 10-11 has never felt as good as it does right now.
The birds are chirping today. The birds are singing. The sun is shining. Air horns are being played. Let's go. 10 and 11. Let's go.
I'm with it. I'm all about the celebration. 916-349-1320 if you want to be a part of the show. Deuce Mason going to join us at 1:30. Just Deuce today, as Morgan's got some other things going on that we'll talk about when Deuce joins us later on today. Also, we welcome everybody watching on YouTube and on Twitch. If you're on YouTube, just search ESPN 1320. Make sure you hit the thumbs up button as well. Subscribe. We have tons of videos that get loaded there each and every single day, including our post-game vibes parties with Kenny Caraway following Kings basketball. You can watch on Twitch.
I was letting them air horns ring free last night, boy.
Don't think I didn't hear. I heard you talking about Damien's not here. I can hit all of the. I can play with my sound effects. Damien's not here. I heard you. Twitch.tv/ESPN1320. Do the same deal there. Make sure you follow, subscribe, share. Hit the like button. Let everybody know what we're doing over there on all those social channels, man, because we've got Kings basketball to talk about today as they have won their 5th game, 5 of their last 6. Oof. The Sacramento Kings have won, and this is, you and I spent a lot of time yesterday, partner, talking about the brutal stretch that the Kings have coming up ahead of them. And it started last night with Boston, and it's going to continue with a brutal back-to-back with Denver and then Los Angeles to take on the Clippers. We'll be back in time on Tuesday for the Philadelphia 76ers game, and you just look at those and you go, man, that's a fight. And when you realize how shorthanded the Boston Celtics were, and you can't make these proclamations with teams that are 10 and 11, you can't make these proclamations with teams that are under 500.
Yeah.
But when you're missing Kemba Walker, when you're missing your defensive anchor and Marcus Smart, and you're missing some valuable bench pieces as well, that's a game. And you're on a bit of a hot streak here. You're playing at home. You know, fans be damned. That doesn't really matter at this point. Like, you've got to find a way to win that game. And the Sacramento Kings absolutely did that last night.
Absolutely. And they had to dig it out a little bit. They trailed a couple times late in the game, had to battle back. I saw it in the second quarter, and I don't know if this is exactly what happened, but I felt that Jason Tatum was sucking wind a little bit. I thought he was a little tired, a little fatigued, and they pushed that pace like we talked about, gave him body blows, and they weren't able to close it out down the stretch. Boston wasn't. So that was good to see. But I mean, what are we going to do? I mentioned it last night on the post-game vibes. I'm not going to be disrespectful. I'm not going to say that and go Dame time. All right. But what do we do? Do we check the clock on our phone? Is that what we're doing here? Because it's looking like in the fourth quarter, it's getting to be Fox time. It's getting to be Fox time.
13 points, 13 of his 26 points in the fourth quarter last night for De'Aaron Fox. I mean, there are just so many different – a lot of guys played really, really well yesterday. A lot of guys – and I think, context is important to when we say, guys played really well. Guys made very, very timely plays. Like Tyrese Halliburton had a stretch where he hit a three – He forced a turnover. He hit another three. He found Harrison Barnes, I think it was, in the corner. Like, he had a stretch where it felt like he single-handedly cut the lead from 11-3 or 11-5 or something along those lines. And you're just in that moment where, like, oh my God, man, thank God for Tyrese Halliburton. And I mean, Hassan Whiteside had some moments where he played really well. It's amazing, as my partner was pointing out before the show, it's amazing how he's suddenly become a favorite amongst people who are trashing the signing. Weird how that works.
Wasn't over here.
It definitely wasn't over here. And you'll hear from Hassan Whiteside. You'll hear from De'Aaron Fox as we roll along. We will talk about Marvin Bagley, who, again, didn't see any time in the fourth quarter. And, Harrison Barnes just continues to be the anchor. He continues to be the rock of this Sacramento Kings roster with 24 points last night to go along with his 6 assists, 5 rebounds. Kings shot 82% from the foul line last night.
Let's go. That's what I like to see.
That's a happy Kenny Caraway right there.
Absolutely. That's what I like to see. And you know what? To be honest, I'm happy because of where they were. But, Damian, that should be the bare minimum. I mean, why are we not shooting 80% from the free throw line? I should be clapping when it gets to 90, not when it gets to 80. But I'll take the baby steps. I'll take the baby steps. Marvin Bagley missed 2 free throws last night. I'm starting to have a hard time remembering the last time I saw him make a free throw.
Yeah. Well, he doesn't shoot a lot of them, so that's part of the problem. But yeah, I don't, because I think he missed the 2 that he shot the game before, and yeah, I don't know the last time.
He went 1 for 5. One of those. What game was that? Was that Orlando? I think. I think it was Orlando. He went 1 for 5. So, come on, man, got to get better at the line, Bags. Come on now.
Marvin played 19 minutes last night.
No, don't even get me started on that.
I'm gonna have to. Like, we don't have to do it now. Let's focus on all the good stuff, and we'll talk about Marvin, because at some point you do have to kind of like look at this, like, all right, what's going on here? And is it just a trust issue? Like, what is really happening here? Because that group that started the fourth quarter for the Kings was terrible.
Yes.
Like, awful. And Marvin Bagley was not on the floor for that. And when they changed the lineup to when they changed the lineup to go with, normally when you bring the starters back in, you which is what you did, you brought the starters in plus Tyrese Halliburton. And again, you have to have Tyrese out there, but it's just fascinating that Buddy was not solid last night.
No.
Whatsoever. He found a way to be productive on the glass, which you've got to applaud him for, but You know, for a dude who scored like 80 points against the Celtics last night or last year, he couldn't get going last night at all.
Nah, man. And I saw that group at the start of the fourth quarter. And I even monitored what was going on at the end of the third. I was like, okay, Hassan has been in for a little bit. He's been in for about, 2-3 minutes in the third quarter, whatever the case may be. Here's an opportunity to do what I had talked about. If you know you're not going to play him in crunch time, which I think everybody in the world knows he's not playing him in crunch time at this point. This is part of what goes on with that rotation. You're not playing him, but you got to get him in there at some point in the fourth quarter. Have him start the fourth quarter, and he didn't do it. I was like, come on, man. And Whiteside played solid in that time. He did some cool things. But, I mean, I don't know, man. Once again, he can't go a whole quarter and not play.
Yeah.
That can't happen.
Well, he did, and he's doing it regularly. But we'll dive further into that. We looked at his game log here, and it's interesting. So we'll bring that along to you. And how about the Kings on the defensive end, getting the job done? Again, worst defense in the league prior to the New York game. That was the storyline headed into that game. It was the best defense versus the worst defense. Like, they were awful. And they have, I think it was 123 points per game they were giving up. Over the last 6 games since that New York game, they have gotten significantly better. I think we had the number yesterday, 107.8 points per game is how many they're giving up, which would, if you factor that out over the course of the season, that would be good for, it's a top 10 finish. I think it was like 8 or 9, somewhere around there in that spot.
Yeah, come on now. I see him putting in the effort defensively and just doing the little things. The communication is there. The team defense. Like I said, I don't think all these guys out of nowhere became better defenders individually, but they understood the concept of what they're trying to do as a team on the defensive end, started to trust each other. And my big thing is communication. You got to be able to communicate out there on the floor. That's what they're doing. And they're playing really well on the defensive end.
They are, and it feels like Tyrese is the anchor for that. Tyrese Halliburton, and that's not to take away, I think, Hassan Whiteside. I've been trying to. I didn't have as much time. Normally, I try to watch the games again the next day. I didn't have as much time as I normally do. Tristan Thompson.
Oh, do you mean Moses Malone? Well, where the hell did that come from?
But Tristan is capable of that. He doesn't do that all the time.
I like Tristan. We like Tristan. But last night he was Moses Malone out there. I said, where did this come from?
But what's wild to me is that he didn't play very well. Like, he didn't play in the fourth quarter. I mean, he wasn't he wasn't a part of. He got Marvin Bagley'd by Brad Stevens.
He did.
Tristan Thompson, 17 and 10 last night. Wow. He got Bagley'd by Brad Stevens.
One of the things is Robert Williams is actually playing pretty well too out there. I mean, I like Williams. I think that, to go here on WEI or whatever, I think he needs to be playing more for the Celtics. For whatever reason, he doesn't get enough tick, in my opinion. But I guess Brad Stevens looked at that opportunity, second night of a back-to-back, trying to preserve maybe Tristan's minutes or something, and gave the young guy Williams some much-needed run. What they call him, the Time Lord? Ain't that what Mark Jones said? Because he was late. He was late to his introductory press conference after being drafted by the Celtics. That's one thing that I don't think I would ever be late to. Is my introductory press conference. But yeah, Tristan, thank God he didn't play because he was a problem last night.
Yeah, and so I found that curious, and I'm still trying to figure out, man. He had 17 points last night. Now, rebounds, that's not a thing. Like Tristan is very, very capable of crashing the glass and getting boards. But you normally don't see him put up points like that. And what I'd like to do in those situations is normally go through all of the clips of Tristan Thompson scoring and trying to figure out, is this a Rashawn Holmes situation? Is this a Hassan Whiteside situation? Or is it a Marvin Bagley situation? And I thought it was Rashawn, but I can't lie. I wasn't really focused on Tristan offensively until he got about 8 points. And I was like, man, I feel like Tristan is kind of doing some stuff today. And I looked and it's like, sure enough.
Got like 2 or 3 and ones in here. I was like, bro, how are you finishing this? What are you doing? So
this is a max contract player. Like he had a max contract with the Cleveland Cavaliers.
Shout out to Clutch.
We're marveling, for real. We're marveling at the fact he had 17 and 10 last night. And Jesse's telling us, our producer, this is the first time he's done anything like that all season. so maybe the defensive woes of the Sacramento Kings aren't quite yet fixed.
Still gotta fix some kinks there. Tristan was actually getting Rashawn and Marvin in foul trouble early on. I know he got 2 quick ones on Marvin. I thought at one point Rashawn had 3 going into the half, and that was a little bit of an issue. But nah, they were able to overcome that. And let me also say something. Damien. The Harrison Barnes.
This was dramatic.
Narrative about we need to get something for him while he's playing well. Let's dead all that right now. On D-Lo and KC, ESPN 1320. Harrison Barnes don't need to go nowhere. He don't need to be on the trading block. I'm not sitting here literally saying that he's untradeable per se, but we're not engaging.
Trade him.
Thank you. No. We're not trading Harrison Barnes. No.
Got confirmation that Jason Jones of The Athletic and the J Street Vibes podcast going to join us here at 12:30. Hey. We're just getting started on Twitch TV, twitch.tv/ESPN 1320. Over there on YouTube, on your radio.com app, and here on ESPN 1320 and Steelo and KC on Sacramento's #1 sports station.
Yeah, man. Come on, man. Need more tick, man. Am I tripping? Does he not play a lot? Nah, I need.
Is Robert Williams? Which one's from Tennessee? Robert Grant's from Tennessee. Yeah. Texas A&M. Yeah.
And I think he was hungover after his introductory press conference.
Oh.
Yeah, because of the party before that, right? But he needs to be playing though, regardless. Roddy. Rich,
y'all cold with the Tristan Kardashian stuff.
Yeah, man, that's cold.
So y'all know the deal. Jason Jones is going to join us. You know what that means.
Yesterday,
you ain't gonna be able to hear nothing.
I think it was Warren. He was actually transcribing what was being said.
Warren, if you're in there, that is now your job. You're going to transcribe. You've got to transcribe Jason Jones's answers.
I need to. I don't know if I want to put that on the shirt. That's a lot. I like saying it, but I don't know if I want to put that on the shirt. But the King's Herald, the King's Herald, and they could put magic, like the no look thing, the gifts. Put that, yeah. Little magic.
Go ahead and make
Got those puppies set. Want to give a shout out to Hassan Whiteside. Yeah. Hassan. Now look, Hassan, as much as I thought Bagley should have started that fourth quarter, Hassan did play well.
He did.
He played well. Yeah, so
there's no denying
worked
that.
out.
There's no denying that.
Fam, okay. So Roddy, yeah, I don't know if I'm gonna ask Jason about the armed robbery at Roscoe's on this show, but it might be on the Vibes. We're doing a Vibes tonight.
Oh,
talk about that.
Oh, I need to tune in. That's a good tease.
Yeah. The guy goes up there. I guess he was refused service at Roscoe's. Came back later. Held him up at gunpoint, not to get money, but he wanted his chicken.
Okay.
I mean, I love the Obama special too. Okay, don't get it twisted. Number 9, Obama special, formerly known as the Country Boy. I love it too, but I'm not coming back there packing.
I mean, you've been hungry before. You know how? We have all been at that stage of hunger. It is it's not a good place to be. No, there was post-game vibes last night. Come on, Lizzie.
Yeah, man. Come on, Lizzie. Where was that, brother?
Vibes last night. Let's go.
I was out here blowing them airborne, baby. Come on now.
KC was wilding out. He was wilding out.
Oh, man.
Rich, how excited are you, man? I wish I knew what it was like to be headed into what you talking about? You experienced this last year.
I didn't experience it this year.
Poor baby.
We got to get back, man. We got to get back.
Yeah, I'll be fine. Yeah.
I know we haven't talked about it all week.
I know we really haven't.
Just the way I like it.
Yeah.
Damien's fell into my trap.
That's funny.
But tune in tomorrow, though. That will all end tomorrow, and a little bit today too.
I mean, we talk. Yeah,
tomorrow.
it's like, man, we've got Kings basketball to talk about, and quite honestly, man, we only got 2 hours. You know what I mean? Like a lot of stuff hits the. We have a lot planned that a lot of it ends up on the cutting room floor. I mean, it just doesn't. It just doesn't make the final cut, man. I don't know what to say.
Do you think, obviously, nobody really being there has affected? Because there hasn't been a lot of talk about Super Bowl in general.
Yeah, that's a good point. I do. I think, like, because opening night wasn't a thing. Like you don't have the same presence that you normally do. I think that is a big factor. Yeah, I think that's going to change probably. Maybe it doesn't change till the weekend. I don't know. I don't have the same level. I don't have that same level of like excitement for it. Not that I'm not looking forward to it. I know on Sunday I'll be excited that it's on, and I'll hang out, watch a little bit of pregame before the Kings come on.
Oh.
I got the chat open here on our stream, and I see Roddy chiming in. Oh, J Street vibes tonight.
Yes, sir.
J Street vibes.
So you guys will get that tomorrow morning.
There you go.
We thought about maybe streaming J Street vibes, but I like my job.
Yeah.
So I don't know if I want to.
It's still a company.
I want to have that on the platform.
Still a company Twitch page here. Like we've taken pretty strong ownership, and they've given us a lot of free reign to do a lot with it. But a J Street vibes on a Thursday night too.
It gets lit.
I know Jason Jones doesn't have to work tonight because the Kings aren't playing. He might actually have a couple of days off. Yeah, probably not a good idea. Probably not a good idea for anybody. But Jason Jones is going to join us here. I mean, it'd be a good idea for people watching.
Right,
but
they would enjoy it. But
the potential fallout for a live J Street vibes on Twitch.
No, we're not gonna. No, we're not gonna do that. You guys will hear it Friday morning. Okay, Friday morning.
Jason Jones will be with us though today. He'll be with us in about 10 minutes. Deuce Mason will be with us at around 1:30. I invited him to come in early. I mentioned Mo's not going to be able to be with us today. I was like, dude, if you're bored, just hop on with us, man. You know what we're talking about. Twitch.tv/ESPN1320. Make sure you're following along. We got a new little layout here. I'm really digging this new little layout we have.
I like it.
We
Ready for my close up.
We've got the Tony and Mike split screen, and we'll change that whenever we have guests, man. But we really love this new streaming platform that we got here. If you're following us at ESPN1320 on Twitter as well, you can see it. We started to talk about this a few moments ago. I guess we might as well just dive into it and get it over with. It's one of the downsides of last night, and maybe it's not a downside to last night's game. Marvin Bagley, 19 minutes and 11 seconds. That's how much he played. Marvin Bagley played 34 less seconds than Corey Joseph did. He played 1 minute and 57 seconds more than Hassan Whiteside did.
Yeah,
I don't know what that means. I can tell you that Marvin Bagley played his 21st game last night. He has played 30-plus minutes 3 times this year. In those 21 games, he has played 30 or more minutes 3 times. He has played below 20 minutes 3 times.
Wow.
And every other game is just kind of in the middle. Some of them are 21 minutes. Some of them are 29 minutes. I thought, and I'm not a coach. I'm not even an analyst. I'm just a fan. I thought he was steadily improving. I mean, I thought there was a consistent growth to his game this year, but
your eyes aren't deceiving you.
So what are we doing?
I have no idea. This is the 5th straight game. If I'm correct here, the 5th straight game where he hasn't played a minute in the 4th quarter. That's come on, that's uncalled for. And the last time he played in the 4th quarter, the Knicks game, and he played well. They played well. They pulled away in the 4th quarter to win. Now it's all working out because they're winning basketball games. So, I'm not going to complain too heavy because they're winning. That's the bottom line of all this. But once again, I'll still say, he needs to be playing in the fourth quarter. Does that mean he needs to be playing with 2 minutes to go? No, not necessarily. But there's 12 minutes in the fourth quarter, and there was some throwaway lineups last night that I'm sure he could have got some run with. He needs to be playing in the fourth quarter.
Glenn Robinson got off the bench for the first time, and
I was glad to see that. I don't know why he don't play more often.
I don't either. Trying to guess Luke Walton's rotations is not that's a tough game to play.
It is.
Like that's a difficult one. But yeah, in credit to Glenn Robinson. I mean, I don't know that he was very impactful. It's not that I don't think he was bad.
No,
I can't remember anything he did. I remember the first time I was like, hey, it's Glenn Robinson's music. Glenn Robinson is on the court. What's happening here?
Glenn Robinson plays like once every 4 games or so.
I had the same reaction when I saw Kyle Guy playing in the fourth quarter. It's like, oh, hey.
And that was random.
Who's homeboy out there? And Kyle ended up playing like 15 minutes in that game. So again, trying to guess what Luke Walton is going to do on a night-to-night basis, not the strategy. I wouldn't recommend it. But I don't really know what to say.
The only thing we do know is Fox and Halliburton are playing. At this point, they're both like getting the tick. That's the only thing we know for sure.
And I guess
Harrison.
And I guess all it boils down to, Harrison for sure, which isn't even a question. I guess what it just boils down to is you have to get Tyrese Halliburton out there somehow, and you believe that Rashawn Holmes is better on the defensive end than Marvin Bagley is, and in close games, you believe Buddy can hit a shot for you. Even when Buddy doesn't hit a shot for 44 minutes, 45 minutes, 46 minutes, you believe that Buddy can hit a shot for you in the final minutes because we saw it a couple of nights ago. We saw him still pass and head over, run like a kid trying to, clear and turn around and shoot the three.
And you also try to navigate through these terrible turnovers he has from time to time. If I see Buddy pass one more time with the left hand one-handed and it's an errant pass or it gets picked off, I'm going to just run into a wall. That's just what I'm going to do. I hate that pass. Do you know that you're not, if you can't, I wonder if Buddy can palm a ball, because if you can palm a ball, you can make one-handed passes. If you can't, you should never be making a one-handed pass. And I feel like he can't palm a ball. I could be wrong though.
Okay.
But anyway, it was a digression.
It's all we're talking about Kings basketball. You can point out your frustrations with Buddy turning the ball over. I'm going to go out on a limb here. And this is a dangerous place to go. I don't think you're the only one frustrated with Buddy turning the ball over.
Okay. I would agree.
I think you're in good company.
Now, in complete fairness, and I mentioned this earlier to you, Buddy Hield with a double-double. 15 points, 10 rebounds. No, I'm gonna give him that.
You did mention that to me earlier.
Yeah, I'm gonna give him that.
I'm not gonna knock a double-double of any kind. I'm not gonna knock the fact that he had 11 rebounds. I'm not gonna knock the fact that he found a way to be involved when the shot wasn't falling. The difference between him, and we talked about this yesterday, the difference between Tyrese, who found his shot yesterday, when Tyrese's shot isn't falling, he kind of pulls back a little bit. When Buddy's shot's not falling, he doubles down. He's like, I'm going at this again. Like, I'm going to make my next shot. And eventually that shot winds up falling for him. But he was 5 of 16 yesterday. He had 15 points. So he had a double-double. Like, you're right. He had a double-double, 15 and 11. But it was a lot of work to get to that 15.
And if I want to be fair to Buddy Hield, there was a play late in the game. This really, like, this is supposed to be a compliment and acknowledgement, but it sounds like I'm being a soccer parent here when I say this, of a 6-year-old or something. There was a play late in the game where Buddy played good defense. Jaylen Brown missed a shot and Buddy got the rebound. Got to salute him for that. Don't look at me like that. I'm just trying to be
that
fair.
By me one more time.
It was late in the game. I want to say it was within 3 points. The Kings might have been leading. Maybe it was a 1-point game. Buddy played really good defense on Jaylen Brown. Defended a shot really well. Jaylen missed a shot. Buddy got the rebound. It was a big defensive possession.
Okay.
Cool.
Hey.
It sounds like I'm grasping for straws, but
we've much like Marvin Bagley, we are kind of the belief that he's gotten better defensively. And Luke talked
And
a
the
little bit
effort is
about
there.
that.
The
I think,
effort is
and that's what Luke was talking about yesterday during his pregame press conference that we had for you on courtside with D'Lo and KC last night. Is the communication is getting better. You could kind of hear Luke in that, like, Luke gets this certain tone when he wants to, acknowledge something that good that a player is doing, while also being careful to not like overstate it as if they're doing something really, really good. And usually he starts his answer with, yeah, it's improving. Like, it's nowhere near what we talk about in practice, but like, yeah, no, it's improving. But if you think that I'm going to praise Buddy Hield's defense right here before this game starts, you're out of your ever-loving mind. I'm not going to dismiss what he's doing because I think that's accurate. I think he is getting better on that side of the ball. It's just, I think we slide in so much when we're watching Buddy. Like, his offense seems to dictate everything we think about him, and we just expect things to go wrong on the other side of the court.
Yeah, and he's putting forth the effort. He had 10 or 11 rebounds last night.
He had 11. Yep,
he had 11 boards last night, and he rebounded really well in the Pelican game as well.
Mm-hmm.
So to me, that's a sign of, like, the shot isn't falling, but he's not letting that be the only place where he's affecting the game. And I've got to salute him for that, because that is what I would teach somebody. I would say, look, your shot's not falling, but there's other ways to impact the game. Right now, rebounds is his.
Tyrese Halliburton found ways to impact the game. One, his shot started to fall, and this was interesting. I'm a big Brad Stevens fan. They played Tyrese exactly like we thought they would. They put him in a position where it was like, dude, we don't trust you to make this. Like, we don't believe you're going to make this shot. So go ahead, do your thing. And then he made a couple. And then he really got, then he hit some huge shots, late in the game as the third quarter went into the fourth quarter. And then as the fourth quarter went along, and Brad didn't make any adjustments. And it was like they continued to dare Tyrese to shoot the ball, and he continued to make them pay every single time that he did that. And as he got stronger offensively, he just started making these incredible plays defensively. And then him and De'Aaron they rolled that fourth quarter, and those two are what led, again, with all due respect to Harrison Barnes, who is the guy who is making everything possible.
29 minutes today. 29 minutes. Well, I did mention him before.
We mentioned him earlier. We mentioned him earlier. Let's bring in Jason Jones of The Athletic and the J Street Vibes podcast. Jason, we're trying to show the proper love for Harrison Barnes here, man. How important has he been to this team during this 6-game stretch?
Mm. Right. Yeah, absolutely. He has been money for these Kings, and he's playing the best basketball of his career. Simply put, I mean, all around what he's able to do, it's been the best. I've really enjoyed watching him this year. Before we go into some positives, I got to get your take on what's going on here with Marvin Bagley III in the fourth quarters. I mean, for whatever reason, he's allergic to the fourth quarter right now, Jason. I don't know what's going on, but I mean, I feel like there's got to be some minutes for him in the fourth quarter, even if you don't think he should be getting the crunch time minutes or the closing minutes. I mean, there's 12 minutes in the fourth quarter. He can't get the first 4. I don't know. What do you think about that, Jay? Play him at the 4 to 5. I would have sat Whiteside yesterday, but Whiteside played well yesterday too. But yeah, I would have sat Whiteside. Mm-hmm. Mm. No. Mm. Mm. Well, I love Luke. I ain't picking on Luke, but 5 straight games, not 1 minute in the fourth quarter. You can't find a minute for him in the fourth quarter. A minute. Mm. Mm.
I think
Okay.
that my concern with that, Jason, though, is if you don't think Marvin can help you win in the fourth quarter, like, I mean, what's that say about the future? If you can't trust him in the fourth quarter, like, how can he be a part of what you're doing moving forward? Oh no, I don't think so either. Mm.
Mm. Mm. Mm. Well, we all know where the answer is to where you put him in at. We're not going to go there, but we all know.
No, I don't either. Like, what do you mean for Buddy?
It's Buddy. It's Buddy.
Okay.
It's Buddy. You move Harrison to the three. You move Harrison to the three. Bagley at the four. Holmes at the five. You got Halliburton and Fox in the backcourt. That's the answer. Last night, Robert Williams and Grant Williams were in the game at the same time. You mean to tell me Bagley can't guard Grant Williams? He can guard Grant Williams, man. Look, but to your point though, Jason. Hey, but look to your point though, Jason. They're winning games, man. And at the end of the day, that's all I'm really worried about is they winning games. And the guys like Rashawn Holmes. I mean, not the biggest offensive night last night, but I just think back to that block alone,
His
the block
presence,
that he had.
yeah.
I think it was on Ojale. I think he blocked Ojale trying to get a dunk and sent him packing, and then the tip in and one. I mean, this guy is nails. He is nails out there. I love watching Rashawn play. Mm.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Mm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
This
Well,
is the
that's
best
why.
stretch of basketball you've seen De'Aaron Fox play.
Mm. Mm.
Oh, wow. Wow. Wow.
Mm-hmm. Mm. Yes, indeed. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh no, I agree with you 100%, and I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying it. I don't want to call it a mean streak, but like you said, ever since he was like, it's hard in here, he seemed to step up his game. So I'm all with that, man. Mm, yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
Jason Jones of The Athletic, J Street Vibes podcast getting recorded tonight.
Yeah,
We're
man.
looking
Vibes
forward to
tonight,
that.
man.
Jason, we appreciate you. Yeah, I've heard there's a couple of things that are going to be discussed on tonight's podcast that I'm excited to hear about.
We got that and Roscoe's to talk about.
Jason, we appreciate you, baby. Thanks as always, man.
All right, Jay.
All right. Jason Jones of The Athletic and the J Street Vibes podcast. We'll step out. We'll come back. We got a lot more. Deuce Mason set to join us here on the video stream coming up at 1:30. We'll talk a little bit of football. How about this, KC? Today in Stupid Things People Say.
Oh, jeez.
Ex-quarterback edition. I'll explain as D'Lo and KC continue here on Sacramento's #1 sports station, ESPN 1320. Man.
Shizzle. Sacktown Crown Report. What up? Welcome to the chat. Welcome to the live stream. What's up?
I started because this stream is going so well. I mean, you know, when I say it's going well, I mean the steady growth that we've gotten. I've started to dread doing phone interviews because I know
it's tough.
like, and I just like right in the middle, like I emailed as we started. We don't, the issue isn't like Kenny and I, the issue is that no one does the show from the studio. Mm-hmm. So because no one does the show from the studio, there's an easy way to fix this to where we could do the live stream and you'd hear everything. You'd hear the music. You would hear, you know, the interviews, but it would make the stream look weird. Like, you know, when Deuce joins us, Deuce and Mo join us, or Marshall joins us, there's that third square at the bottom. Well, that square would be there all the time.
Yeah.
And so we're trying to find a way to create the best visual experience while not sacrificing the audio portion. So we're working on it. I just got an email back from our engineer that there's, you know, some system has been down for a couple of days. And so once that gets rebooted, we can test it. We tested a whole bunch of stuff the other day before the show started. 5 seconds in, it was like, God damn it, this doesn't work. We knew right away, like, this didn't work. So we had to,
and for whatever reason, when we did that before the show was working, and then once the show started playing, it's like, oh no, this ain't it.
So I think what that is we're in a different, like, we're not being fed ourselves. So it has to do with it's a long story, but and it's a complicated story that engineers are working through. But I know I say this all the time. We're getting there. We're sorry.
Yeah, and Rich, Rich, don't call anybody Rich.
no, please don't. Please don't, Rich. Do not call anybody. Believe me, there are a few people more upset than him. Like, I assure you, there are a few people more frustrated than him, other than Kenny and I, and everybody.
We don't get it, though.
Everybody who turned. Here you go, Roddy. It's COVID, man. Like, what do you want us to do? Like, COVID.
Literally, that's what it is. If it wasn't for the Rona, we'd be in the studio. We'd have no issues.
Dude, that's for real. We'd actually.
You're right, Roddy.
Kenny and I have not done a show in the studio together.
I've never been in the studio. Even when I did my other stuff, it was at home. I'm trying to get in the studio. I'm trying to get mad and walk out on Damien like that one guy did in Houston.
Oh my God. That video was comedy.
That was an all-timer right there, boy.
Oh, man. That was comedy. Weren't they arguing about, like, James Harden or something?
Yeah.
Oh, man. Leezy about to pull up to J Street Vibes with that E40 wine.
Jason would love that. Jason's a big connoisseur of the what's it called again? I forgot. It's on the tip of my tongue.
So do y'all use OBS for the stream? We don't.
Do I use OBJ? I don't know. I don't even know what OBS is.
Oh, it's an operating software there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. No, we don't.
Look at my partner.
It's an option, but we don't. We use something called StreamYard, which allows us. We basically turn the cameras on, pick the social media platforms that we want to go to, and with the click of a button, we go out to YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter all at the same time. We've decided to stay with Twitter. We feel like more people see than Facebook, and I feel like no one likes Facebook anymore. We're coming back. It's funny, man. The conversation keeps rolling here during the commercial breaks on twitch.tv/ESPN 1320. We're available on YouTube as well. Search ESPN 1320. If you're in that YouTube chat, please hit the thumbs up button, subscribe, do all of that good stuff. We'd greatly appreciate it. And if you're on the stream and you missed the Jason Jones interview, you can subscribe to the D'Lo and KC podcast, which is available on radio.com. It is available now on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Google Play. And if you could, hit the 5 stars there and leave us a little review if you are so inclined. That would be fantastic. A couple of other Kang's business here that we should address real quick. De'Aaron Fox, this story is making the rounds. So much talk about De'Aaron potentially being an all-star. Marshall Harris, who will join us tomorrow, as he does each and every single Friday, asked De'Aaron how he felt about the all-star game potentially being played. And at the time, it wasn't confirmed. It was confirmed this morning. The all-star game is getting played. Here was De'Aaron's response to that.
I mean, if I'm gonna be brutally honest, I think it's stupid. If we have to wear masks and do all of this for a regular game, then what's the point of bringing the All-Star game back? But obviously, money makes the world go round, so it is what it is. But I'm not really worried about it. If I'm voted, so be it. If I'm not, I don't.
Would you play in it?
You get fined if you're supposed to be in it and you're not hurt and you decide not to play. That's a hefty fine. So hell yeah, I would play in it.
There was a line he said at the end of that as him and Marshall finished up that conversation where he goes, "Man, I hope I don't get fined for this. I hope I don't get fined for saying that."
Making the rounds.
Despite the fact that De'Aaron's got damn near $190 million on his way, he is not trying to give a single dollar back to the National Basketball Association.
I don't blame him.
I appreciate that. I appreciate being frugal or wise or whatever you want to call it with your money.
So I was listening to Brian Windhorst, and he brought up it's a good point. I don't know how I feel about it completely, but he talked about the All-Star game. He's like, look, should they be having an All-Star game? No. Like, we all know they're doing it for the money. Mm-hmm. That's cool, whatever. But he was like, regardless of the All-Star game or not, they were getting that week off. Mm-hmm. So the way he looked at it was, in some respects, if you're worried about COVID or super spreader or something like that, when they go to that All-Star game, that bubble or whatever, they're going to be tested like around the clock almost.
Sure.
And they probably aren't the guys that you should worry about as opposed to the guys who are taking their 5 days off and going to Cabo, you know what I'm saying, or something like that. So it's like, I didn't think about it like that. It's a good point. You know what I mean? Like, kind of what's more dangerous is the people that are going to be left to their own vices for a week as opposed to these all-stars who are going to be tested probably 2-3 times a day.
I love that you said Cabo because it reminds me of that clip we played of George Kittle the other day talking about Jimmy Garoppolo, and he was asked about what he thinks about all of the noise regarding Jimmy Garoppolo and quarterbacks in the league, and he goes, I didn't hear anything. I was in Cabo, and now I'm in Tennessee working on the house. And it's like, okay, so you was in Cabo, and like no one hit you up and said, hey, bro, you won't believe this, but Deshaun Watson wants out of Houston, and the 49ers seem to be entrenched in these rumors somehow. Like, get no cell signal in Cabo?
Yeah,
like,
Twitter don't work in Cabo, huh? Okay.
Apparently.
Cool.
Apparently, but that line
Instagram
correct.
does though. they be on IG tough in Cabo. That IG story works.
Ain't no lie about that, man. Ain't no lie about that. Speaking of quarterbacks, multiple quarterbacks had really, really dumb things to say. As we mentioned, Deshaun Watson. Let's start there with Brett Favre. Brett Favre says Deshaun Watson is paid to do a job, and he should just do that. He makes a lot of money. He makes a lot of money to do that job, and he should just go on about that and let the chips fall where they may. I'd like to remind anybody who forgot, Brett Favre was the guy who faked his retirement with the New York Jets so he could go play for the Minnesota Vikings. But yes, by all means, Brett Favre, please tell Deshaun Watson what he should do. Please tell Deshaun Watson how he should approach this.
Hey, he got all the answers. He got all the answers. Why
don't you tell
when
Deshaun
he failed
Watson
to test himself?
Why don't you tell Deshaun Watson how for your next act? Tell Deshaun Watson how to conduct himself with female reporters. Why don't you give us? Why don't you teach a class on that too, Brett? Because right now those are the two things that you're experts in: just playing the quarterback position and doing your job, and being a tremendous role model when it comes to working with female reporters.
Brett definitely needs to shut the hell up.
This dude faked his retirement. What are we talking about? This dude concocted this whole story about how I'm gonna go. I'm retired. Oh, wait a minute, my buddy over here. What a coincidence! This is not the place that I wanted to go to when I originally left Green Bay. Not at all. Just no way the Packers were gonna send him there.
As the Queen Bee would say with Brett Favre,
he's a clown.
Yeah.
Was that the Queen Bee who said that? Who is that?
Yeah, that's the Queen Bee. Brett Favre.
He's a clown.
I like it. I like that. I wonder what the Queen Bee would have to say about Carson Palmer, because if you can count on one thing, it's quarterbacks telling other quarterbacks how to do their job. And Carson Palmer told Dak Prescott today on a Dallas radio station, 105.3 The Fan, available on radio.com for those of you who want to hear this. He was asked if Dak Prescott should take less money to be with the Dallas Cowboys. Carson Palmer responded, I love Dak's game. I think he's great. I think he shouldn't shoot for the moon. His next contract. Being the Dallas Cowboys quarterback, there's a lot that comes with that financially. So you don't have to be the top paid quarterback in the league. You can make as much as the top paid quarterback in the league when you're the Dallas Cowboys quarterback, if you do take less. Because if you win in Dallas, look at today's television networks. You got Troy Aikman, Jason Witten, you got Tony Romo, Jason Witten, who's not on national television, but that's fine. All on nationally televised games. This is Carson Palmer right here. Partially because of their playing careers, but a majority of that is because they played for the Dallas Cowboys.
Hey, who man is this?
Thank you, because that's exactly where I was going, but I was going to go with this variety.
Man's is this? I really need to know.
We can even take it up a notch and the official Carson Palmer theme music. My goodness, man! Why?
Wow. So I mean, this man told this dude who plays the game of football, just twisted his ankle 3 times around a couple months ago. Don't shoot for the moon.
Yeah.
Because the only way that you'll be able to get on TV after your career is if you're a Cowboys quarterback.
Correct. That's why Tony Romo is on television. Not because he's a really good analyst, but because he was the Dallas Cowboys quarterback. That's why. And for God's sakes, if Troy Aikman can do it, hell, it's just hereditary. Once you put your hand under that center's butt, suddenly you know how to become an analyst. What are we talking about? Man, is that former Raider quarterback Carson Palmer? Is that how we refer to him?
I think so. I mean,
I don't think that's how we refer to him. I don't think Raider fans would appreciate that. Roddy, can you chime in here on the chat how you feel about that?
No, we're definitely going to refer to him as former Raider quarterback. Yeah, we're going to do that.
This fool made $174 million. I wouldn't have guessed that. Carson Palmer, $174 million in his career. I would not have guessed that at all.
He got like 2 huge contracts. He got one with Cincinnati and Arizona, I think.
I keep thinking that can't possibly be right. How did he make that much money? Who paid him that?
Arizona chipped him off. Yeah, I think it was Arizona. But yeah, Carson, I mean,
did.
you know, if that's all it takes, are we going to see
accurate?
Are we going to see Quincy Carter out there soon on Monday Night Football?
Yeah, he's next.
Is that how it works?
Mm-hmm. Yep, he's next. Quincy Carter.
Cool.
Who was your boy? Was it Danucci? Who you kept saying is going to be the next Tony Romo? Is it Nick Danucci?
Yeah, Danucci is next. He's next. Sunday Night Football when Collinsworth leaves. Matter of fact, they might kick Collinsworth out to get Danucci in there.
Dak, get your money, fam. Get
Please.
your money. Get it for the amount of years that you want. Get this contract structured the exact way that you want it. And if Jerry doesn't give it to you, take that franchise tag, make $35.5 million, and then call their bluff next year where they have the option to play you like $47 million or some absurd number like that, or take your talents elsewhere. I hear the Bay Area is very nice.
It is very nice. Levi Stadium is a great place. And,
great tight end.
You know, I think he would look good in red. You know, I mean,
yep.
Yeah, we could do that. But I can't, if I gave it to Favre, I can't not give it to Carson. Because Carson,
You got to.
He's a clown.
You got to.
Yeah.
I feel like these guys are. I guess this is just. I guess it's just the old. I guess it's just the old. You can't let go type thing. You remember a couple of years ago, everybody could beat the Golden State Warriors. Everybody.
Yeah.
Jordan's Bulls could beat the Golden State Warriors. I think it was Michael Thompson's Lakers could beat the Golden State Warriors. Everybody could beat the Golden State Warriors. Now you've got someone. Everybody's weighing in on this and that, and I guess this is the quarterback deal. You've got to weigh in and tell these guys in 2021. No. Do as I say, not as I did. Hell, if Brett Favre if Brett Favre wanted to be honest, he should have just said, "Hey, fam, fake your retirement. Worked for me. Worked for me. Make it happen."
Give him the blueprint. Instead, he says, "What did Favre say about you got a contract? You need to play it out. Honor that contract."
Yep, that's what he did.
Clown
That's
behavior.
what he did, man. Unbelievable. You listening to D-Lo and KC on KIFM, West Sacramento, KRXQ, HD2 Sacramento, or radio.com sports station, and driven by Lasher's Elk Grove Dodge. We welcome everybody listening on the radio.com app on ESPN 1320 AM. We welcome those watching the stream on twitch.tv/ESPN 1320 and on YouTube as well. Just search ESPN 1320. No matter which one of those channels you are on, hit the subscribe button, hit the follow button, hit the heart button, hit the like button, hit the thumbs up. Do all of that good stuff. We need it.
You mentioned,
and we appreciate it.
Absolutely. You mentioned how, everybody was saying they could beat the Warriors. Did you see that one meme going around about Michael Jordan? I don't know if it was an actual quote or not, but the reporter goes, LeBron or Mike, do you think that your Bulls team will be able to beat LeBron and Anthony Davis of today? And Mike goes, yeah, we'd beat them. It'd probably be like 2 or 3 points or something like that. And he's like, oh, really? I'm surprised you think it would be so close. Well, why do you think that? And he goes, well, a lot of those guys on that team are like 60 years old now. So, they'd be struggling.
I can't believe that's real, but Jesse, I'm going to need you to check on that because that's a fantastic line. That is an absolutely fantastic line.
That cracked me up.
There isn't he never had a big man that play like Cartwright.
Purdue.
Was it Elk Grove's finest, I think.
Yeah. Shout out to Elk Grove. Bill Cartwright Classic goes down not this fall, but in a normal year,
almost every fall.
Yeah.
Barring extenuating circumstances, there is no Cartwright Classic. And Luke Longley comes to mind. Like I'm trying to think.
Bill Wennington.
Wennington. Yes, indeed.
Yeah, Brian Williams. Rest in peace.
Man.
Yeah.
Wow.
Bison Dele is
what I'm trying to say is he didn't have Anthony Davis. That's what I'm trying to say. He didn't have anything.
Not even close.
Of Anthony
Wennington
Davis.
is close, but he's not Anthony Davis.
Yes, Wennington is definitely close to Anthony Davis caliber play for sure. Let's stick with old guys. That's what we should do. Let's just stick with the old guy conversation because there's an old guy
here today.
There's an old guy playing in a game on Sunday, and he's playing against the young guy. And there's a great storyline there that we'll have plenty of time to talk about tomorrow. But Brady said during the virtual opening night of media that he and I believe he clearly said this for a reason. Oh yeah, I'm really happy with where the Bucks are. We're going to be even better next year. Shutting down, I mean, opening night, you're shutting down any questions about retirement, talking about we're going to be even better next year. And he's said this for years, but we kept waiting for him to like be a liar or something. We kept waiting for him to change his mind or get injured or whatever. He's said years ago, I'm going to play till I'm 45. And he's getting closer, but he's not there yet.
How old is he right now?
I think he's 43.
Oh, yeah, he's going to give 45.
I want to make sure he's not 42. Let me double check this. I thought it was 40.
He's going to give 45. If that's accurate and he only needs 2 more seasons, yeah, he's going to give 45. What's his deal with the Bucks?
You would think as many times as these numbers have been said over the course of the last few days, he's 43 years old. I thought it was a 2-year. Yeah, I thought it was a 2-year. Yeah.
Last year in San Francisco. No, I don't want Tom.
Do you want that would be 43, 44? That would be 44-ish, 45-ish year old Tom Brady.
Yeah, I don't want Tom. I don't want Tom. I know he's a GOAT and all this other stuff. Tom Brady.
What if it was next year? Would you do it next year?
No. Tom played over his head a little bit, in my opinion, this past year. He played cool. It's not like Tom was lighting the world on fire. Like I said, even in the NFC Championship.
But he wasn't bad.
He wasn't bad, but he's not. No, I don't.
I mean, he wasn't setting records. Like he wasn't throwing 50, something touchdowns, 5,000 yards, but he wasn't bad.
He was an average quarterback. That's cool.
I don't think he was an average quarterback.
Okay, a little above average.
He was a good quarterback. No, that's too, like he was good. He was really good. I think he might finish third in MVP voting.
That would be crazy.
I don't think you're aware how he played really well this year.
The third in MVP would be crazy.
I mean, I don't think so. It's Rodgers, I guess. Patrick Mahomes second.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess the debate would be Brady third or Derrick Henry.
Let's just keep it a stack. I mean, he didn't have a better year than Derrick Henry. He didn't have a better year than Josh Allen. He didn't have a better year than Russell Wilson. He didn't have a better year. I mean, I'm so
sorry.
Down the road.
I'm so sorry.
He probably didn't have a better year than Baker Mayfield.
Did you? Okay, all right, stop.
You're
doing a lot. Stop. You're doing a lot now. The Cleveland Browns won games with Baker throwing 150 yards, and I'm not knocking Baker. He did enough for them to win. But to say that he had a better year than Tom Brady did, stop it. And did you just pay Russell Wilson a compliment?
I did. I'm not a hater with Russell Wilson. I'm not a hater. I just don't like the Seahawks. But I told you, number one, Russell Wilson is maybe one of the luckiest men in the world, and I don't mean that as a knock, but he is. And he's terrifying. He's terrifying.
4,600 yards for Brady this year.
Okay.
40 touchdowns. You know who else put up numbers like this, by the way?
Who did that?
The guy who should be an MVP, Deshaun Watson.
That's another guy that would probably be.
But he's not going to.
You can't put him ahead because
he had an MVP season for sure that was wasted because of that horrible organization. But I think you're dismissing. Okay,
I'll run it back. I'll run it back. Brady had a little better year than I probably gave him credit for. Then Brady did have a better year than I gave him credit for.
You're not allowed to run it back in sports. Like you have to own this take forever. Baker Mayfield outplayed Tom Brady.
He ain't third. He ain't better. He ain't have better
third
year than Josh Allen.
I bet you he's third.
He might get the votes, but he didn't have a better year than Josh Allen.
Yes, he did.
I don't even think he had a better year than Russell Wilson.
I am really stunned.
Top five is good though.
I'm stunned.
Top five.
I'm stunned.
Top five is good though for Brady. It's a lot better than I thought his season was. Top 5, top 6.
I went all year singing the praises of Russell Wilson, and you essentially told me to knock it off.
You sung the praises of the Seahawks, who were frauds. Like I said, they were. They proved to be frauds.
All right.
I was right.
Okay. God, my gosh, looking at this number is really extraordinary. 4,600 yards at 43 years old.
That
is really amazing.
He did ball out.
Wow.
So there's nothing to say that.
I knew his numbers were good. I didn't realize they were that good.
I didn't either. So I took a quick peek at him. I had to run it back. But there's nothing to say that. Let's say he takes a dip next year. He's going to be like, if he had 3,800 yards and 30 touchdowns.
Still better than Kirk Cousins. Yeah, still better than Kirk Cousins. Way better than Kirk Cousins.
I'd love to have that in San Francisco.
Deshaun
As
Watson.
much as I probably wouldn't want Brady, I'd love to have that kind of production.
Oh, Brady's production.
Yeah, like
Not
his
Kirk Cousins'
diminished
production. Okay.
No,
Okay.
hell no.
Okay.
Hell no.
Okay. Because if you were talking about Kirk Cousins, I was going to leave. I was going to walk out.
If I was talking about Kirk Cousins, I would have left.
Yeah, I was going to say, you're not Kenny Carey. I don't know who's over at the house today, but that ain't you. Tom Brady, 4,633 yards, 40 touchdowns, 12 interceptions. Deshaun Watson, 4,823 yards, 33 touchdowns, just 7 interceptions. And 7, oh my gosh, man, you talk about a wasted season. 70.2% completion ratio for Deshaun Watson.
Wow.
That is
Free Deshaun.
And you wonder why this dude wants to get away from that team. And
Deshaun,
not that
man.
team
Free
in terms
that
of,
boy.
yeah, for real. Please let that brother go. Man, these stats that he put up, and I know we did a whole conversation on his stats, but looking at him again, especially in comparisons to Brady and how well, dude, Deshaun Watson should absolutely be in a top 5 MVP position. And I get he 4-12 or whatever insanely poor record the Houston Texans had, but these are just extraordinary numbers at the quarterback position. I can't figure out in what world a quarterback plays like this and loses. I mean, we had the stat is coming to me a little bit. A 15-1 Peyton Manning team had numbers like this. I think a 14-2 Aaron Rodgers team had numbers like this.
Wow.
And that was it. And then you have these numbers on a 4-12 Houston Texans team.
That's criminal.
Get this
To be
man in
honest
San
with you.
Francisco.
Jeez, please.
Get
Please.
him in San Francisco with a little helping of Kyle Shanahan and a big dose of George Kittle. And while we're at it, get whoever is under center or running back.
Yeah.
I'm talking like a running back that just
What they call them,
goes.
bell cows? I need a bell cow running back.
They got all sorts of bell cows, workhorses. I don't know where all of these crazy ass names come from. All I know is Derrick Henry won the Heisman Trophy, like running the ball like 400 times for Alabama. And I thought, man, they're going to wear his ass out before he even gets to the league. And then
He's still going.
Here he is, man, just continuing to
He's
put
different.
up extraordinary.
Derrick Henry different.
Yeah, man. I think he might wind up being like one of those once in a lifetime. I mean, the only comparable guy to him, Earl Campbell. Like, that's before my time. So
Right.
I'm going off NFL films here. I'm not even going off total yards. I'm just going off pure physicality. I don't know that there has ever been a running back like Derrick Henry.
I can't think of one that I've seen with that size and that speed. He runs away from guys when he gets in the open field. I can't think of anybody off the top of my head.
But he hits you first. Like, he invites
That too.
contact. Like, he
That
wants
too.
to hit someone and then take off for 40 or 50 yards. Bryce is saying the Nigerian Nightmare. I did think about Christian McCoy as I was saying that. Christian
that boy
McCoy
is
was
bad.
extremely physical, but he wasn't as nearly as gifted as Derrick Henry is. And no,
I don't know if he was as fast, but he was fast, but I don't know if he was as fast.
That's it. Like, I don't think there's a running back who has been as physical and as fast. as Derrick Henry.
The bus wasn't like that. The bus was, he'd invite the contact and he'd seek it out, but he couldn't run away.
Yeah, not even close.
He had better speed than people probably remember, but he couldn't run away like Derrick Henry does. Yeah, that's a good one.
I'll have to do
Derrick
some.
Henry.
Yeah, I mean, Jim Brown, again, we're getting suggestions here on the chat. You're getting way before my time. Like, I'm obviously very, very familiar with Jim Brown. I don't know. It's tough. Yeah, you saw it too. Go ahead, give it to him.
Oh boy, Bo Jackson.
Bo
Now
Jackson,
that
he
was a special man.
He
right
loved
there.
hitting guys. He really loved hitting Cincinnati Bengals. Like, he'd hit the Cincinnati Bengals and then take off for 90 something yards. I remember one game, like I remember it so vividly watching it home. I loved. You can't see it in this shot. I still have a picture of Bo Jackson behind me. He hit the sideline and he's out. And I think Bo at the time was the only player, and I don't know if this still holds true. I can't imagine that it does. He was the only player at the time who had two 90-yard runs 90-yard touchdowns, out of the backfield. He's in the open field, like he is gone. It's going to be his third 90-yard touchdown, and I can't remember if it's against the Bengals or the Broncos. He gets caught on the 1-yard line. And it's an 89-yard run to the other side of the field. And he gets up Jackson? And he looks around like, that's exactly what Bo said. Bo got up and like, he's looking around like, who the hell caught me? And you could kind of see him losing his, Bo has this beautiful stride. You could see him losing it at the end a little bit. Like he starts running like a child with his like arms flailing a little bit. And then that's when, the dive catches him by the foot. He trips up, lands on the 1-yard line. He gets up. He's looking around like, oh, man, they got me.
Damien, have you ever ran a 40-yard dash?
Yeah, absolutely.
What was your time?
Oh, I'll have to ask. It was it was probably a couple years ago. It wasn't anything I would post on social
during
media.
The break,
it was like 5, probably high fives. I can't remember.
During the break in all the Twitches and the YouTube, I'm gonna tell you my story about running a 40-yard dash.
All right, well, get at us on twitch.tv/ESPN1320. Deuce is going to join us here on the video stream in just a couple of minutes. If you're listening on the radio.com app, we appreciate you so much. If you're listening, no matter where you are, we appreciate you so much. We've got so much more to talk about, including Kings basketball and their win last night. It is 5 out of the last 6 for the surging Sacramento Kings. We'll continue to discuss as D'Lo and KC continue on Sacramento's #1 sports station, ESPN 1320.
So check this out. I was probably about late 20s, maybe early 30s, maybe like 30 or 31. But anyway, it was during the combine and everything. And, you're watching all this stuff. And I was pretty fast in school or whatever. People were like, yo, you should run track or whatever. I never did. I was pretty fast out there on the court. And I was watching the combine and I go, when I was like, in my heyday, I could probably run about a 4.4. You know what I'm saying? That's probably, I probably run about 4.4. I was like, today, I'm probably, I'm older. I slowed down. I'm probably at like 4.7. You know what I'm saying? But back in my heyday, if I got in shape, it was like 4.4, maybe 4.5, but 4.4. I never run a 40 before. So, I was saying all this and people were like, wow, you fast or whatever. So I was training this kid and I would trade him in a high school. And I was talking to his dad and I was like, hey, let's go to the football field real quick. I need you to videotape me and record me running this 40. He's like, all right, bet. So I get to the field and I'm walking and I had my head down as I was walking. Remind you, I've never run a 40-yard dash before. And I get to the goal line and I look up and I'm like, oh, 40 yards is a little farther than I thought. 40 yards is a strike. So I was like, all right, I got this. So he says, go. I'm down. I got my head down or whatever. I'm going, I'm moving, I move my head up. I'm at like 20. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm only 20 yards. What in the world? I'd get the busting or whatever the case may be. And I get to the end, break the little tape, turn and look at him, and I point. He goes, 5'2". What? 5'2"?
Yeah, faster than mine.
So I was like, I'm not leaving until I get under 5. We got linemen that are running like 4.8 or whatever. So I do it and I get to 4.9. That was close enough. I got up out of there. Moral of the story is when you see these guys running 4.3, 4.4,
it's crazy.
They're different.
There is nothing, dude. To me,
they are different.
To me, there is nothing like watching a trained runner up close. Like I'll never forget being at the campus at the University of Tennessee in Knoxville, and this guy he's got to be 6'5", shredded to all end.
Yeah,
comes running down this hill by campus, and I swear to you, I replay this scene every time I talk. I don't think his feet were touching the ground. Like his strides were so long. It was one of the most gorgeous things I've ever seen. And he's just like moving. I'm like, oh my God, like are his feet hitting the ground? Like he was so light. They have like this this pop to him, and he's just
Yeah.
and he wasn't like it was like light work. Like he wasn't sprinting. He was like warming up or something.
Yeah, he's getting a little
Crazy.
workout in.
Crazy.
Now that track stuff is different, man.
Next level.
It is so different. Yeah.
Next level.
So I last time I ran the 40 is probably hell, I don't even think Reese was born. So it's close to 10 years ago. I got under 5, and that's where I'm gonna leave it.
Okay, hell yeah. That's what I do.
That's where I'm gonna leave it. I'd be close to 6.
Warren posted the meme for us. The Jordan a news reporter asked MJ if he thought the 90s Bulls could beat LeBron's Lakers.
Jordan,
hey, appreciate you, Warren. Warren got our back, man. I love it.
Good looking, man.
Love it.
Jordan, the fool, man. And that's a funny dude. Roddy.
Steven can't hear phone audio on this Twitter stream. Yes, indeed. We appreciate you so much for being here with us on the radio.com app, on ESPN 1320, and of course on twitch.tv/ESPN 1320 and YouTube as well. Follow us, subscribe, like, do all of that good stuff, man. We appreciate you being such a major part of what we do here on a daily basis. Deuce Mason set to join us coming up here in just a couple of minutes. Normally it's Deuce and Mo, but Mo's got some things going on today, so Deuce will be with us solo coming up here in just a couple of moments. Keep those chats coming here, and if you want to be a part of the conversation, maybe you're just listening on the radio.com app, or you're listening on the radio, at D'Lo and KC on Twitter, or at ESPN 1320 on Twitter. Let's get back to the Sacramento Kings.
Yeah.
They win their 5th game in their last 6 tries, a 116-111 victory over the shorthanded Boston Celtics, and there's nothing wrong with that, man. This is a very good Boston Celtics team. We were very hesitant entering this game last night, and like, wow, okay, you're missing a starter in Kemba Walker. You're missing your defensive anchor in Marcus Smart. We've seen this story before. It never ends well for the Sacramento Kings, so let's just acknowledge who's not playing for them and try to keep it moving and just focus on what the Kings have to do to win. And there was a couple of moments there where it felt like, and this I think is a thing that we can really look at over the course of the last couple of games, KC, is there have been points during this stretch of basketball where they've played really well that, you know, the Pelicans game comes to mind also, where it all could have fallen apart. Like like you start to see the game kind of slip a little bit. And then whether it's a Luke Walton timeout or whether it's a timely, you know, Tyrese Halliburton 3 like we saw last night, followed by another timely Tyrese Halliburton 3, there always has been something in those moments that has grabbed this team, galvanized them a little bit, and helped them get on a run.
They are gaining, and I mentioned this last night on the Vibes, they are gaining a level of mental toughness that I don't feel we saw in the first couple weeks of the season.
Yeah.
I mean, they're able to withstand some of these runs that other teams are making. They're able to look at an 8-point, 10-point deficit in the fourth quarter and say, it's okay. We got to stick to doing what we're supposed to do, D up a little bit, and we'll get right back into this game. And it's refreshing to see. I love it. I really hope that it's not run, it becomes part of their identity, that they become that mentally tough to be able to withstand any kind of run or anything like that. I'm enjoying it. You know, it's part of, and I don't even know if I make the announcement. I lifted the label of soft last night. I officially lifted the label of soft from the Sacramento Kings because they were showing, they were showing it's not just the physical toughness, but the mental toughness that you just talked about, Damian. They're starting to show that. That's a sign of not being soft. So I lifted it. It's off.
Wow.
They're not soft.
Man, you're a whole different person today. Kings win a couple of games, and Kenny's complimenting Russell Wilson. He's lifting the soft label. Like, all sorts of things are going on right now. What world.
They earned it.
You know
they earned it.
You know what it is, everybody? I'm just between us. We'll leave Kenny out of this conversation. I think the Peloton has changed him. I think that's what it is. Kenny got a Peloton, and he's taking a couple of classes, and I think he's softened up a little bit.
Alex need to stop cursing at me. I know that much. Alex Toussaint, one of the trainers, he just curses at you the whole time.
You
don't together.
You do what Alex says, and we won't have a problem here, sir. Keep it moving there on the Kenny. I need a Kenny Caraway Peloton series here on the Twitch. I mean, hell, if people watch other people play, like if you can go and watch Deuce Mason play Warcraft or whatever the game is, I should be able to log on to Twitch and watch Kenny Caraway get through a Peloton workout.
One of these days, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it, Damien. I'm gonna do it.
You gonna do it after you've had the bike for a while?
Yeah, and after I'm not looking like I was last night. I was looking at a mess.
Ain't nothing wrong with fatigue, man. Ain't nothing wrong with fatigue.
I took a couple 20-second timeouts. I need a 20.
That's all right.
The Peloton's making a run on me. I need a timeout.
Bring in Corey Joseph. Bring in Corey Joseph for Kenny Caraway here on the Peloton. Corey Joseph played more minutes than Marvin Bagley did last night. If you missed our conversation with Jason Jones, go to the radio.com app and use the rewind feature. You can scroll back immediately. We encourage you to listen to the next 40 minutes of the show, but at 2:00, you can scroll back to 12:30 and hear our conversation with Jason Jones, or you could subscribe to the D'Lo and Casey podcast on radio.com, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts from. But, when we posed the question about Marvin Bagley playing in the third quarter, fourth quarter, I really don't have an issue with his response in that who do you take out other than you're not acknowledging that, Buddy isn't playing particularly well. And I know you addressed that with Jason Jones, but he also went on to say, hey, the matchups don't work. Like if you took Buddy out and you try to put Marvin Bagley in that situation, the matchups don't work. So, from that perspective, like I understand because Tyrese has to be in at the end of the game. Like that's not that we've gotten to the point of the season as if it ever was. We've gotten to the point of the season where that's not a conversation anymore. Like he has to be in at the end of the game.
He's a fixture, just like De'Aaron's a fixture. Tyrese is there.
But what does this mean for Bagley? What does this mean for Bagley moving forward? Because I'm not of the mindset that it's like I don't want to make too much out of it. Like Jason was alluding to, this is the worst thing in the world, and then there's the other aspect where it's no big deal. Like there is a middle where it's like okay, there's a problem, and you've got to address that problem somehow. And if the Kings continue to win games, or at least maybe if they don't even win games, but they're competitive in the fourth quarter, it sounds like he's not going to see time out there on the court.
Right. And my whole thing is I understand the crunch time thing or whatever, but you can't, in my opinion, have no minutes for him in 5 straight games. There's not any minutes. You find minutes for Corey Joseph. Yeah. You find minutes for Hassan Whiteside, who played well and has been playing well, but you find minutes for them in the fourth quarter, whether it's 1, 2, 3, 4 minutes, whatever, you find the minutes. He's gotten shut out in 5 straight fourth quarters. That can't happen. Now, and like I said, that's before you talk about certain matchups. I understand if you go really small, maybe you don't want him in there with Holmes or whatever the case may be. Last night they had two bigs in there. I mentioned the Williams twins. They were both in there. Marvin could have.
They're very much not twins. I just want to point that out for those who are unaware. They're very much not.
Just like the Smith brothers with the Packers.
Right. Yeah. Same thing.
But matter of fact, they used to call Justin and Alden the Smith brothers.
Oh, that's great.
But I say that to say
the Williams twins.
You can find minutes for him somewhere in the fourth quarter.
Well,
and if you want to keep him there in crunch time. And here's the other thing, Damien, that we've talked about. I think we've been on the forefront. I think we may be the only ones in Sacramento on this forefront. I don't look at Marvin Bagley as just this god-awful defensive player anymore. He's not that. He's not a turnstile. I think he has problems, not committing fouls sometimes. That's one thing. But he's not this turnstile on the defensive end at this point. I don't see that.
I don't either. But Tristan Thompson scored 17 points on somebody last night. Mm-hmm. And if it wasn't Marvin Bagley, then why was whoever it was in at the end of the game? Because if it was Rashawn, he got minutes. I mean, obviously, he was a big part of what they were doing at the end of the game, which was, again, it's weird. And I guess this isn't an exclusive to the Sacramento Kings problem in the fact that Tristan Thompson, 17 and 12 last night, didn't see the floor in the fourth quarter for the Boston Celtics.
Yeah.
Brad was like, nah, nope, ain't happening. not with our squad. So our chat here on twitch.tv/ESPN was 1320 was quick to point out Marvin Bagley hasn't played in the fourth quarter of 5 games, and the Kings are 4-1 in those games. The one loss was, of course, to Miami by 8 points.
Yeah, and that game might have been Marvin's best game, and he didn't play in the fourth quarter.
Right?
So,
Yeah.
Look, they're winning. They're winning. And even last night, when I say he has to find some minutes for him or something like that, Luka's pushing the right buttons in Hassan Whiteside that, played where I thought Marvin should play. Hassan played great at the start of the fourth quarter yesterday. He helped get the Celtics in the penalty.
Mm-hmm.
He finished in some offensive rebounds, finished inside, got some rebound, whatever the case may be. He played well. So it's not like the guys that are playing ahead of Marvin are playing god awful, and it's like, why are they playing ahead of him? It's not that. I just feel, man, 5 straight games to not find a minute for him. That seems like a bit of a stretch. You should be able to find some time for him.
Here's Hassan Whiteside talking about the game last night.
Yeah, we picked up. Guys was missing at the rim. I think Tristan had a couple early seals in the paint. Later on in the game, guys start missing. We start playing a lot faster. The air start getting downhill. They're not a real like big team. They don't have a rim protector. So we knew we could attack the paint as much as we want, and them guys not blocking those shots down there. So we knew that.
Hassan Whiteside, like they ain't got nothing for us down there, so we're gonna go ahead and keep it moving. We'll get to the paint when we can here.
Hassan is turned out to be absolute comedy.
Oh, I love Hassan Whiteside.
On and off the floor. I almost do a Fred Sanford and have the big one when he tries to dribble and go behind the back on a break. But I mean, he's comedy.
By the way, Hassan Whiteside, the Celtics outscored the Kings in the paint last night, 50-48. So I don't know exactly what Hassan Whiteside was referring to, but that is absolutely what he did. Let's bring in. Oh, we don't want that screen. Let's bring in a homeboy. It looks weird. It looks weird with you all by yourself.
In a way, doesn't it? Doesn't it just look like there we can spread out a little bit? The boys are here. We don't got Morgan. It's kind of cool this way, right?
I like it. I like it. Mo, are we allowed to say what Mo's doing, by the way, or is that for a big...
Yeah, she's going down to SoCal to get a Shiba Inu. And by the way, I know people are going, "Oh, adopt, don't shop." I'm sorry, okay? I'm all about the adoption thing too, but I feel like it takes a different type of person to take in a rescue. Like, you just don't hate on me.
It does.
For that,
no,
okay?
don't
hate on me for that.
It's a different. There's no hate needed. Like, all dogs need to be cared for, but yeah, no reason for that. But Morgan's not here, and I want to make sure. I want to make sure we can.
What does the Shibu look like?
Kind of looks like a fox, man.
I want to make sure we can show Morgan a little bit of love here, guys. This clip I just can't get out of my head here, Deuce.
It sounds like a gremlin eating a human baby. That's what it sounds like.
So you guys were doing the podcast, and Carlin was eating a carrot. I don't know if people realize dogs love carrots, and of all of the analogies that Morgan went with,
it sounds like a gremlin eating a human baby. That's what it sounds like.
Who says that? Like, where's your mind at? Like, I go dark too, but like, that's never that. What? What the hell are you talking about?
I'm more curious as to how many human babies has Morgan heard being devoured
by a gremlin. Yeah.
Right.
That just made me do a double take.
Thank you. Thank you.
So we miss Morgan, but we're thrilled that Deuce Mason is here with us. Obviously, the chat was lit last night following another Kings victory. What's the biggest difference that you've seen over the course of the last 5-6 games?
I think it's De'Aaron Fox. Well, there's a couple things. I think Fox is showing like he's a guy now, right? Where people thought yeah, he's got promise. He's got all-star potential. Now he's showing it. He's like, I'm taking the game over. And when was the last time the Kings had a guy like that? That you knew when the game was on the line that he could take over, not only get buckets, but get you wins with how he's playing. Like DeMarcus could get numbers. Guys could get numbers throughout the years. But are you winning games? And during this stretch, he's taken it upon himself to take over when the teams need it most. And he stepped up. I think the big thing for me, he goes 3 for 8 from the free throw line against Miami, and they lose by 2 or by 1 point. And you're going, you got to make your free throws. Since then, he's 13 of 13 from the free throw line. He stepped up in a big way. And with this competition they have coming up here, these games aren't going to be easy. But if he keeps playing well and they are competitive, maybe they win 1 of the next 3. They go 2-2 in this tough 4-game span. Then the All-Star conversation is like legit.
So that's what I was going to ask you. So you don't think it's legit yet, right now?
Oh no, I think he is, but you got to remember we're trying to sway voters here. And how many of these NBA people are paying attention to Kings games at this point? I think it's helpful that he's playing well against the Celtics, that he led a comeback with 17 points in the fourth quarter against the Pelicans and 17 points in the fourth quarter against Miami. Those are things those will catch people's attention. So I think that's why the next few games are pretty important for his All-Star bid is, can he get the attention of the media members who, they're not half these media guys aren't watching anyway. They're paying attention to the nationally televised games. They're not staying up till 10 p.m. to watch a Kings game.
So you said, we're trying to sway voters. Deuce, do you know how to maybe explain about a pathway of De'Aaron getting voters?
The pathway would just be playing like he is right now.
He was trying to set you. He wanted to set you up to do John Kelly, I think, is what he was doing there.
John King.
He's going. Yeah, he's going back to 2020. That's what it is. Kenny's the only person who wants to go back to 2020.
Damien, that was like seeing Hassan Whiteside throw a lob to someone. Like what was that, Kenny? Like what?
Pathway. You started when you said sway voters. That's what.
A little bit of a stretch, but it's all good, man. I mean, I could give you it if you want. A couple of things have to happen, right? No, he's got to play well over the next few games. The other thing that's jumped out to me is like defensively. I was looking at some of the numbers today over the last 6 games. The Kings are 10th in defensive rating in the last.
Yeah, that's huge.
What? They're 7th in points allowed at like 108 points per game.
That's crazy
for a team that couldn't lock down anybody for a couple of weeks. They're showing signs that, hey, we can be competitive. I don't think this is a good defensive team, but it's that effort. It's making sure that they compete more times than they're not, and they'll put themselves in a good position.
Yeah. A couple of weeks ago, they were literally the worst defense team in the history of the league.
Yeah.
So, that's pretty good turnaround.
You mentioned De'Aaron has to get the attention of media and basketball people. Like it's got to be, I mean, at least a little bit encouraging, the fact that Tyrese Halliburton got Rookie of the Month. And it's like, okay, people are paying attention to, if nothing else, they're paying attention to what Tyrese Halliburton is doing. And I can't imagine that you're going, oh, Tyrese, let's forget about De'Aaron Fox. It appears at least some people are watching or paying attention.
Yeah, and that's more of an NBA. I don't even get who picks that award. As my phone is ringing. Sorry, guys. I don't know who picks that award from the NBA office, but yeah, it's good to see him get recognition. And all of a sudden, you're looking at that backcourt with the way Halliburton's playing and Fox taking this step. It's year 4. We all want to see this step from Fox. Can he go to the next level? You're starting to see it now, and you're seeing the makings of what could be like a super electric backcourt for years to come.
Yeah, I'm excited to see where these guys go. And with the maturity of a Tyrese Halliburton, like he's learning different things about the NBA because he is a rookie, but it's been said so many times. He has the maturity of a seasoned vet. He has the basketball IQ of somebody that's been in the league for a while. So to see where these guys can go rather quickly, like it's right there for us. Obviously, Tyrese is going to get better, but we don't have to wait for him to work through rookie kinks and rookie mistakes. At least from what I've seen so far, he plays like a vet. So to see these two mesh up and get together as a backcourt, even late in games right now, 21 games in, man, it's a joy to see.
Look what he did in the third quarter yesterday. I mean, the Kings down 11, coming out of a timeout. hits a three. Then the next play over deflects the ball off the Celtics, hits another three, finds Barnes for a score. He changed the game. We're talking about a rookie here, and how many times have we said that this year about his play, that when he comes in, he has winning habits and he comes in and makes plays. It's ridiculous.
We've seen this we've seen this franchise make runs before, the Dave Yeager year, where they go on a stretch and everybody's all excited and it's 40 wins and it's 50 wins the next year and all of that good stuff. Is this sustainable? Do you think, especially with the significant growth on the defensive end, do you think this is sustainable?
I don't know if the defensive stuff is sustainable. I don't envision them being a top 10 team for the rest of the year, but I could they be super competitive and push around 500 if they keep playing like this? Yeah, because Fox is playing like a guy. For so long, the Kings didn't have it. There was a promise of maybe he could be a guy, but there was still that question mark surrounding it. And the fact that he's connecting from three now, he's becoming a threat from three, that he's taking over these games, you go, okay, there's something there. The fact that Halliburton's playing the way he is. And then Harrison Barnes. This guy's unbelievable. I mean, we talk a lot about players, like we act like they stop getting better at like year 5 or year 6. I think sometimes you go, they're not going to get better. What is he in his like 8th or 9th year in the NBA? He's playing the best basketball of his career. And it's not just numbers. Like, he's legitimately playing.
He's 28 years old, man. Like, he's 28.
Right. I mean, he's in his prime still. And career numbers, I mean, the shooting is great. I mean, I know it took a dip last night a little bit from 3 because he was like 1 of 8.
1 of 7, yeah.
50% from the field, over 40 from three-point land, 85% from the free throw line, career highs in rebounding and assists. He's playing good, and he's playing good defense. And it's fun to see his growth. Like, all of a sudden, you're looking at that contract now going, it's not too bad. I mean, the guy's 28 years old and he's playing good basketball.
Deuce, I tapped in on the night chat last night, and I said, I'm not sitting here saying he's untradeable per se.
Right.
But I ain't trading Harrison Barnes. I know everybody talking about, look what you can get for him or whatever. I don't want the Celtics first round pick for Harrison Barnes. It's going to be in the mid-20s somewhere. And this is the thing that always gets me about trading somebody like Harrison Barnes. You want to trade away Harrison Barnes in hopes that you can find another guy like Harrison Barnes, right? You know what I mean? Instead of just keeping Harrison Barnes. And also with the Kings and not trading them, it'd be one thing if they had maybe a rookie that was sitting behind them, where you're clearing room for that rookie or second-year player to now take the bulk of the minutes. They don't have nobody. You trade Harrison Barnes, you're trading him for a pick or something like that. Like I said, I don't want the Celtics first-round pick and Semi Ojeleye for Harrison Barnes. I'm good. He needs to be here. Me and Damian went as far about a week ago as saying, I'd like to see his next contract with the Kings. Like, he's 28. He's not 34. He's 28.
He's a good dude. He's gotten better. He's good in the locker room, good in the community. He's a guy you like having around. I'm with you. You don't want to say he's untradeable, but I don't think you just move him to move him. At the same time, I mean, McNair has to look at the salary cap situation and go, okay, like, what's going to break here? Because we've got Hield locked up with a lot of money. That contract at this point is not looking good, right? Like $24 million a year or whatever it is. That's not
spoiler alert. It didn't look good when he signed it, but please continue.
Right. No, but I think there was a promise like, oh, he could be a starting shooting guard, when it's clear that around the league he's viewed as a bench guy, and he's not playing well this year. He's had a couple of, we could count on one hand how many good games Buddy Hield has had this year, and you're paying him that much money. So you got that deal. You got Fox's contract that kicks in next year. You got Barnes's deal, Joseph, who has a non-guaranteed deal next year. You got to clean some of that up. So that's where it gets tough.
Yeah.
Buddy Hield is shooting 38.3% from the field, and then 39% from 3, because I think all of his shots from the field are actually from 3.
Right. I was to say, shouldn't he be shooting the same thing from 3?
The same exact percentage from both of them, man. That is just. I mean, and still, it's 16.1 points per game, but he's using a lot of shots to get to that 16, as we saw last night. I think he had 16 shots to get to the 15 points to go along with his 11 rebounds.
That was the one good thing last night, was the fact that he tried to have an impact getting rebounds, and that big rebound he had late after Tatum got that offensive rebound when I'm like, oh, are we going to overtime for real right now? When Tatum had that look. But yeah, I mean, you got to get more from him, especially if you're paying him that much money. And I don't know how you get that Buddy Hield back from a couple of years ago. That was efficient, who was hitting like 40% from three. And we saw that one game, I think, on the road trip where it was like, oh, that's the Buddy we like. We talked about last week on the show. Like, wait, he attacked his first play. He attacked. He missed, but he attacked. Yep. He got a couple of mid-range shots, and then it opened some things up for him. And he had his best game. And after the game, he's saying, yeah, I watched tape, and I noticed that I can't just be a three-point shooter. And that was encouraging. But then what happens? You know?
His next two games, he takes, you know, there's a difference of one field goal between the field goal shots and the three-point shots. And it's like, holy crap, you had the percentage. And I know you presented this to Luke Walton. It was 70-something%. I think there was a stretch where it had to have been like 95. Like he was just shooting all three-pointers. And Kenny brought up this point where the tougher the defense gets, and I don't know that this was necessarily the case last night, though I'm sure he played into Brad Stevens' game plan. The tougher the defense gets, the more likely he is to shoot a three. Like, I think the game that we were just referring to, I think that was Orlando, but I can't really remember. It wasn't one of the defensive juggernaut. It certainly wasn't New York. It wasn't one of those defensive, difficult defensive teams that they play. And so the more that defense, picks up, the more Buddy's like, I'll just hang back here.
Yeah, and his way to get out of maybe a slow start is, I got to hit a three. He's going for the home run instead of, hey, just get something easy. Get a good look. Yeah. Feel good. And then let it come to you. And that's probably been the most frustrating thing kind of with how he's played this year. I mean, the Kings have won 5 of 6. He had 1 or 2 solid games in that 6-game span. But if they're going to build on this, they got to get more from him.
Yeah, absolutely. Deuce, one of the big topics of discussion here today has been Marvin Bagley and his lack of playing time in the fourth quarter. I'm of the belief that you got like 5 straight games without playing a minute in the fourth quarter. I mean, you got to find some time, even if you don't believe he's a crunch time guy. Put him in there for the first 3-4 minutes of the fourth quarter, whatever. But 0 minutes in 5 straight games in the fourth quarter, that can't happen. What do you think about that? Is that, I mean, and they are winning, so that's a whole nother thing about that. Where do you stand on Marvin, fourth quarters, Luke Walton, all that whole relationship?
He's got to start playing more in the fourth quarter. You look at the lineup to start the fourth quarter last night. I think the Kings were almost going to throw the game away with the lineup that was out there. And then he went back to the starters minus Bagley, Halliburton in that mix instead. And I'm totally fine with that lineup closing. I'm not trying to sit here today and be like, Marvin Bagley needs to be closing. But if Marvin's progressing, like we all say, like he's played better, right? Like he's more engaged defensively. He's making fewer mistakes. He's still going to get bullied at times. Tristan Thompson's a big dude and was bullying him around, getting him in foul trouble, all that stuff. But he's playing with more confidence. Yeah. And I want to see him in the fourth quarter, not fourth quarter when they're down by 20 or up by 20. I want to see him in a close game. Like he needs to experience that. He needs to be in a tight situation. Give him a run for 3 minutes in the early stages of the fourth quarter, then go to that closing lineup. And, I do worry about his confidence at that point. Like what's going through his mind when he feels like he's progressing, he's doing some nice things out there. And then fourth quarter comes, it's like, oh no, you're not getting back in. That's got to be tough for him.
Yeah, you can't play like I said, my whole thing, I'm with you, Deuce. If you got a closing lineup that you have that it seems to be working, that's cool. But you can't play a minute in the fourth quarter. You know what I mean?
That's the thing. Like, he's a young player. You drafted him number 2. Like breaking news, if he's going to be here long term, he's going to have to play in the fourth quarter of games, right? Like
100%
run. And no one's saying he needs to play 12 minutes in the fourth quarter, but give him some time. And I know there's casual fans out there who will tell you, well, he doesn't play defense. And I was like, well, okay, so should he never play? Like he's allowed in the first 3 quarters to play and make mistakes. Like he's got to get reps. And the big thing for him that I'm happy with is the fact that he played game 21 yesterday. And that was significant because, of course, that's the most he's ever played in a row in his NBA career. That's a big deal. And he's battling through the wrist thing. I give him a lot of credit. I think we were all thinking bad things after that Golden State Warriors game when he got bullied around. Then his dad comes out and, pops off, and then he's got to deal with it. but really since then, Bagley's really stepped up in a big way. And I like how he's playing. So I would like to see him get some run in the fourth quarter.
I think there's also an underlying frustration where it's like, wait, he can't work himself out of this, or he can't play himself out of this, because we've seen it with Buddy. We've seen Buddy make mistake after mistake after mistake. Hell, we've seen a number of Sacramento Kings make mistake after mistake after mistake. But there are times in the fourth quarter where, in a close game, we've seen them lock down. We saw this a little bit more, maybe last year on a few occasions. Maybe in the year with Dave Yeager, you would see, a guy kind of tighten up there in those final few minutes and make defensive plays and wind up winning a game because of something that you hadn't seen for the first 3.5 quarters. And it's like, nope, Marvin, we're not even going to give you the opportunity to do that. And I understand that part of that is because you have to have Tyrese Halliburton out there.
Sure.
And it just feels like with Buddy, you sacrifice any flaws or any mistakes that he may make on the defensive end because he's capable of doing what he's did the other night when he can't make a shot to save his life. But when the game is on the line, he gets a steal in the backcourt, runs back behind the 3-point line, shoots it 1-on-5, and winds up making it. And all of a sudden, there's a whole new situation here with that game, and the Kings wind up winning.
Yeah, and like for spacing purposes, even though he's not shooting well, teams around the league still view him as a legitimate 3-point threat from anywhere. Where Bagley, to his credit, is hitting the three. And he's doing a lot from the corner, but that's working well. The one weird thing for Bagley to me is just the free throws. He's 1 for his last 13. And what's trippy about it is last year, I know he only played 13 games, but I'm pretty sure he had somewhere around 30+ free throw attempts. He was at 80% last year.
Wow.
And so, that's not like a small sample size. That's significant enough. That's not like 10 free throws. We're talking about 30+ free throw attempts, 80%. But then he was shooting 18% from three. So now all of a sudden, he's starting to get some success from the corner three, but now he can't make a free throw. And at this point, you could tell it's in his head a little bit.
Absolutely. He goes to the line not believing he's going to make a free throw. You know what I mean? And that's the exact opposite, like you just pointed out, Deuce, with him shooting a corner three. Like, he looks just so comfortable with his form and letting it go, the release and everything. Feels so confident shooting that shot, where from the free throw line, like you said, it just looks like he's battling himself at the line.
Right.
80% from the free throw line last year, 48 this year.
Wow.
It's puzzling. And, how much does that have to do with the wrist? I would think if it was the wrist, it would be impacting the three more. I'm not sure. So it's just a weird thing that he's going through right now. And 1 for 13, again, that you could make that a case as, hey, you don't want him playing in the late fourth quarter because
hack up
Bagley. Like,
yeah.
Send him to the line.
Yeah, absolutely.
What's the most important thing that the Kings need to correct or improve on?
The points off turnovers are still an issue. They did a much better job taking care of the ball, 11 turnovers yesterday, but there are too many times that when they're making these mistakes that this team is automatically scoring, and they're getting killed in that way. They're getting killed in transition. And I feel like a lot of times they're just sloppy mistakes, just shooting themselves in the foot. And then all of a sudden, you're in a disadvantage when the team's going the other way, pushing the pace and scoring on you. That's one. And, the bench unit from Halliburton, of course, came off the bench, but he's playing almost starters minutes at this point. Corey's been rough this year. Corey's been really rough, and playing him 20+ minutes is not ideal. But at the same time, I don't know what you do there. Like, if you want another hand, like, okay, Guy could get those minutes, but Guy is also he's going to struggle with the physicality. Mm-hmm. So the bench has kind of been a little thinner than I thought it would be. Whiteside, he gives you some good, he gives you some bad. He's been okay for them for the most part, but the bench is a little bit of concern. So I don't know how they fix that with the current personnel that they have, though.
Yeah, see, and I'm not really one of those guys who have been just all over Corey Joseph since he got here. I thought he's been fine as a ball player, and just talking to him, and an even better human. But I would not be mad. I know this sounds crazy, but not be mad at Kyle Guy getting those minutes. You know what I mean? He's another shooter out there. I think. Not that Corey Joseph doesn't have a good basketball IQ, but Kyle knows what he's doing out there on the floor. Like, I trust that whatever physical limitations he has, basketball-wise, he'd figure it out, because he is such a smart player out there on the floor. I also don't understand why we see little dog, Glenn Robinson III, once every 4 games. I like the minutes that he brings.
I like to call him little dog.
Oh yeah, that's what they call. Well, you know, I'm a big Michigan guy. That's what they called him in Michigan.
Okay.
But I like the minutes that he brings. You know what I mean? Like I don't need to.
He's been up and down, man. I mean, I think defensively, that's where you look at Joseph and him. I think at times that they get beat a lot by their guy. And with Corey, he again, you say he's a nice guy. He is a great guy, but we're just talking about him on the floor here.
Absolutely.
The way he closes out so hard on shooters or non-shooters, he gets beat every time. I don't know how often I see it. And then it's the over dribbling and some of like when they're running Whiteside Joseph pick and rolls, I'm like, that makes me cringe a little bit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, nobody's trying to see the Whiteside.
Are you excited for the Super Bowl?
It's weird because I feel like this year there hasn't been as much hype, and I don't know if it's because of the pandemic and there's not a whole bunch of media coverage. It just doesn't feel.
That'll
like
do it. Yeah, I think that's it. Like Kenny and I were talking about that earlier. It's like, hey, the Super Bowl Sunday. Wow, just kind of snuck up on you. Normally, you get like wall to wall coverage nonstop. Every analyst is there. And there are a handful that are there, but the vibe is different. Like they're not outside. There aren't hundreds of people gathered around the set or thousands of people gathered. It just feels different.
It feels way different. And by the way, totally random, but the NFL telling the Bucs that they can't shoot off the cannons is ridiculous. Everyone's talking about, the Bucs get to play a home game. No, but the Bucs put out a statement saying they can't shoot off the cannons because the NFL wants to maintain a neutral site.
Come on, man.
No, like. They are going to play at their home stadium. Let them shoot the cannons. What are we doing?
Well, it'll be even stranger, like when they announced, like, oh, Kansas City is the home team for this game. You know how they do those? They do these weird determinations about who's the home team and who's the away team.
Well, look, to that point, ironically, the Bucs were supposed to be the home team color scheme wise, right? But the Bucs had won all their playoff games on the road. So they asked the white uniforms.
There you go. Okay.
But it was their turn to wear the dark uniforms because last year the 49ers had their white uniforms.
Okay.
Dude, of course. How do I know this was going to come up?
You've really got to. I need you to get help. That's really what I want because I worry about you long term. I want you.
That will help me, Damian, is another Super Bowl.
Are you going to watch this game, Kenny, or is it going to be tough to see Mahomes win another one?
I mean, it'll be on.
Well, I guess I don't have to ask you for your prediction. Is there a player that you can think of as we wrap things up that's not a quarterback that's like, okay, they could be the game changer for this one?
Because I just think the Bucs don't have a chance. The only way the Bucs have a chance is can JPP, Barrett, can they get to Mahomes and make a mistake? I know that sounds insane, but that's their only hope is some weird turnover. That's what changes these games, right? Like turnovers. And I think it's going to be on those guys to try to wreak havoc. And they did a good job against Rodgers, but Mahomes is the next level. I mean, we know how good Rodgers is. Mahomes is just a freak. And I just don't see it. Go to John King for a second. I do not see a path for Tom Brady.
We got it in there.
Thank you.
We got it in there. Dude, Kenny's happy now, and that's all that matters. He is the king of multimedia, Deuce Mason. Mo, we missed you today.
It sounds like a gremlin eating a human baby.
And if you were wondering why Morgan wasn't here, it's that soundbite. That's exactly why she wasn't here. If you missed any part of today's show, you can download the radio.com app and use the rewind feature. Of course, our podcast is available there. It's available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iTunes, Google Play, all of that good stuff as well. Rate and review. If you're on YouTube right now, hit the thumbs up. If you're on Twitch, make sure you subscribe. That's twitch.tv/ESPN 1320. We'll be back here tomorrow on Sacramento's #1 sports station, ESPN 1320.
Holla.
All good, Jesse? No. Okay, thank you. We'll wrap up here, man. I appreciate you. Okay, bye-bye. All right.
That was fast.
It always is,
that
man.
was 25 minutes?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah, we roll along, man. Going Deuce and Mo style here on the stream.
I'm glad you guys are doing that.
It's up to you, man.
I understand. Hit the thumbs up.
Yeah.
Hit the subscribe button. Make sure to follow on Twitch.
Yeah,
Get that going.
the steady
Well, I see
growth has been there, man. So it's helped,
Roddy's in the
we-
house, huh? My guy Roddy's here.
Oh yeah, Roddy. Yeah, he's a mainstay. Most of the people in the chat are a mainstay, so that's pretty dope. They understand all of the faults that we have with our live stream. Like it's not perfect yet, but we're getting there.
Good, dude. I mean,
Yeah.
you guys evolved. That's what's
Yeah.
great.
Yeah, we did. We evolved. That's something that doesn't happen often in this business. But
exactly.
well, good stuff, man. We appreciate you. What do you? I know the Jason Ross show came out today. What day is today? Thursday, and then you guys are off tomorrow. You guys actually? Are you taking a day off? There's no game tomorrow.
No game tomorrow, but we'll have an afternoon chat on Saturday, and then Sunday's a weird one. Like I'm like, maybe we just
because of the Super Bowl.
Yeah. Why? NBA, why are you playing games on Super Bowl Sunday?
Yeah.
The Kings tip off at noon. That means the game's going to end at 2:30. That means it's going to be home at like 3:15. Kickoffs at 3:30. Come on.
Yeah, that's a tough one.
I didn't think about that as an employee, right? That kind of sucks for you, but I know for me, like somebody that just was sitting around all day, like, yeah, play basketball till 3:30. I don't need to watch 9 hours of NFL count.
No, I'm with you. I guess I'm more speaking selfishly about you like night chat thing, because what are we going to hang out during the Super Bowl and be like, all right, let's talk about the Kings Clippers. So what do you think about Kawhi today? You know, it's like purple's on, man.
You're right.
Oh
man. Well, good stuff, man. Thanks as
All right.
always. Good luck with the puppy.
Thank you, man.
Yeah, we'll talk soon.
All right, see you guys.
We appreciate everybody on the chat and all that stuff. Do as Deuce says, hit the thumbs up, hit the follow, hit the subscribe, do all that, and we'll be back here tomorrow at noon. Thank you guys.
Holla.